blessed. You have been chosen by God to compete for righteous glory. 8 other champions will enter, but there can only be one MoY. And now, introducing your host, Jake, the gluten-free careless.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, men who act like children of all ages, welcome into the Hit It!
MoY Ploy!
Amen. Let's get it. Week 3 in the books, baby.
I appreciate you teeing it up for me. It
Oh,
was
yeah,
an
come on.
absolutely spectacular week 3. It came down to Monday night, but Dallas D delivered the dub for me. Amen. And shout out to Z Warren, who is an absolute beast on the fantasy points right now.
Shout out.
Z Warren, top 4 right now.
All right, man, we got a spicy episode. We got a week 3. We have got a couple new members on the Panic Bus. Some people are at the bus stop waiting to get on. We're going to talk about it all and a week 4 preview. Let's get right into the week 3 recap. You ready?
Yep. Break it down.
All right. First matchup was between Brent Hent and myself, the key rep commissioner. Really, this game came down to the fact that everyone on my squad pretty much busted. You look at these points. I hate the
6 people in single digits. Oof.
Yeah, Russell.
And you were busy on the
Devontae.
trades. You had acquired Russell. You had acquired Brady. I think they both had tough matchups. I don't know about Russell. Maybe Brett made the right move with getting rid of Russell because they look at.
Yeah, I'd take Cousins back right about now.
I have to think that Russ is gonna figure it out.
I thought I was buying low. Turns out I was buying high.
I believe it. I like
Kirk
that.
Cousins buried me.
Kirky did.
All right, let's keep it rolling nice and sweet. Then we have got
Ray Rat. The
Ray
Rat
Rat versus Brett Tet.
Now, Ray Rat knows you got to put up points in this league if you want to survive. Your dad has been iterating that to him every week.
And
Now,
he has
Ray
got
did
2
not-
elite producers when it comes to making points. That's Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts leading the charge for his squad. Huge week with compound interest coming out of Devonta Smith as well.
Big win.
It's got to feel good.
Yep.
A lot of compound interest on Ray's team. He's got Jalen Hurts, Devonta Smith.
He had a lot of busts. Look at all these single-digit scores on this.
He had a lot of busts, but he also had 3 booms.
Boom.
Anything over 30 is a boom.
And I believe in Ray's team.
Yep.
Ray is right now number 2 in scoring. He is top 4. I believe he's 3rd place, 2-1.
Mm-hmm.
Beast Ray.
Now, Brett Tet, he is heavily invested in 2 offenses, being the Dallas Cowboys. What are you laughing at him for?
I feel bad, but we mentioned that being overly invested in 2 offenses can bite you in the butt, and in this case, they are.
Took a big old juicy bite. Took 2 handfuls.
Yeah, neither the 49ers nor the Cowboys are producing. They're shaded themselves from last season, and so
Yes.
Brett is. I'm panicking if I'm him.
Look,
He's on national radio podcast right now, and he's getting absolutely burned.
You know what? I will say this. I warned Brett not to start J.K. Dobbins. There's a reason. This is his first game coming back out of, like, you've been playing fantasy football for a long time, brother. You know J.K. wasn't going to get a full workload. What do you think was going to happen? Boom, 6 points. Anyone on your bench that was playing would have been better off. You could have started Rex Burkhead, and you got 1 extra point. Good God, is that serious? That's serious. Okay. Tyler Higbee, you could have flexed him. You could have Ayuk, Akers, anybody but JK. I wouldn't even start JK until I see it. I just think it's too dangerous. The run blocking has been so bad that even the guys, I think they're averaging like 3 yards or less per carry. Like, it's abysmal up in Baltimore. I wouldn't be starting J.K. until I see it with my own eyes that he does have a good week, and then I'd be willing to start him. I'm willing to miss out on 1 week so I don't take like 4 L's in a row.
Also, I think Keenan, like, I felt like Keenan Allen.
Keenan Allen was a game. He was a game time decision. He got ruled out, I believe.
Ruled out, and so you got caught. If you get burned like that, that's tough.
Yep. That's some MoY material right there, if you ask me.
All right.
Also, Mecole Hardman. Why?
It's tough. The only people I want in the Chiefs' offense are Kelsey and Mahomes, and Mahomes has been tough right now.
CEH has been on a tear.
Has he been beasting? My bad, CEH. Don't mean to disrespect.
He's been on a tear.
All my first-round draft picks of the past are tearing it up this year. CEH, Saquon Barkley.
Amen.
I let him go.
All right, we're going to talk about Brett's team a little bit more later when we get to the panic bus.
We love you, Brett.
Yeah, just not your team. Next up, Zach Warner for Trevor Trust. This was a close-ass game, man.
I was worried. I left some points on the bench, and so did Z Warren, too. It came down to Monday night and the Dallas D delivering the win. Highlight players for me.
25 points. What?
He left Russell Gage on the bench, but I left Isaiah McKenzie and Jamal Williams. Trevor Lawrence, dude. Trevor Lawrence is here. He looks good and spicy right now. Joe Burrow, Joey. My quarterback showed up, but none of my other players did, and I was carried to victory on their
I gotta take a second about Trevor Lawrence, man.
Trevor Trust.
I thought Trevor Lawrence was I thought there was no way he was going to be good. They added practically nothing to help him out. They traded away Laviska Shenault, one of his weapons. The only thing they added was Christian Kirk, who is not an alpha receiver. He's going to get locked up by any decent or even mediocre cornerback. But I'll be damned. Maybe I underestimated how big of a problem Urban Myers was last year.
Yeah, and so the new Doug Peterson, the new coach, he's killing it with Trevor Lawrence. And so if my QBs step up, I feel good.
Yep. Now I will say this about your mismanagement here, Pete. Mm-hmm. You don't really expect Jamal Williams to get that many points because you can't start him just because you think someone might get injured in the middle of a game, you know? So I wouldn't call that mismanagement here. The only questionable things I would say is that you flexed a tight end, which means tough. you even though you put George Kittle in here, who do you like more, Kittle or Goddard?
Yeah, I like Kittle, but it just depends on the matchup.
What you actually did was flex Goddard because Kittle could have gone up into your tight end spot, and you could have flexed anyone else off your bench. I feel like that's a mismanagement there.
Fair.
But
I do think that it did say Denver was bad against the tight end. I thought they might hit Kittle more than he got.
Okay.
Not there.
Yeah, but then still you slot Kittle into the tight end spot, and then Goddard goes to the bench, and you get to flex somebody else. But I want to talk about Z Warren. This guy, Chase Claypool.
That's busted. He
hasn't hit double digits yet. Why is he still in your starting lineup? You have got Chris Olave as a rookie who already broke out. He's already had an 80-yard game. Most of his games, he's got 13 targets last week. That should have been an indicator that he should have been in your lineup. You missed out, brother.
Russell Gage, all the wide receivers.
All the wide receivers except Russell Gage got injured. I would have put him in over Michael Carter anytime. If I could have a flex choice between the number one target of Tom Brady or the backup running back in a New York Jets offense, guess who I'm going to choose? You guessed it. Tom Brady's number one guy.
He's also got Breece Hall. This is tough. He's got the entire New York Giants backfield, and I feel like it's different than what I'm doing with Detroit, but maybe not. Maybe I'm just looking in the mirror at Z.
You are. Shitty team, entire backfield on your roster.
I see game recognized games, Z. But I would have done Breece Hall. I think I think Breece Hall is showing his talent as the premier back in that offense.
He's beginning to, and what I did like is that he got a shit ton of targets in this last game. I think he got
Look at that
6 catches. You can't see the targets because he's a running back, and it's this ESPN is garbage. But,
I mean, at least six targets.
No, I'm pretty sure it was like double digits this past week. I think it was like 11 targets or something crazy like that. I'd have to look it up on Sleeper, and actually good at. Now, I will say, for everyone who's listening, I am heavily considering moving the league to Sleeper. Sleeper is a different fantasy football platform. We can import the league, put it on Sleeper. It is vastly superior in a number of different ways after having played a couple seasons on it.
Mid-season import?
No, not going to happen. Shoot that one down, all right, now. So yes, be prepared for a different format next year. It's not all that different. It's a little bit more, it's just like, it's so much more customizable, so much more information available to you. It's a little bit more intuitive. Once you learn to navigate, like 2 different things are a little bit weird about it that I wish they would change, but that's it. Whereas there's dozens of things I'd wish they would change at the ESPN kebab. Anyway,
The
last matchup.
The Rat Pack versus unsolicited. No, we did that one. It's
unsolicited Dak picks. Yes. Vandalorian versus unsolicited Dak picks. Todd versus Eddie. 1 versus 7. This was a bit closer than I think anyone really anticipated here.
And Eddie had no quarterback. He's the quarterback god, but he has never been able to hit it on his quarterbacks on the right week, the right matchups.
No, this is part of the problem of having 5 quarterbacks on your roster. I still don't understand what Zach Wilson is doing here. Joe Flacco, I don't believe, is rostered. So, like, do you really expect Zach Wilson to be that much better than Joe Flacco? That he, like, deserves a roster spot along with Ryan Tannehill, along with Aaron Rodgers, along with Carson Wentz, along with Matthew Stafford? Something to think about. 4 QBs, you want to play matchups, kind of do the shell game, I get it. 5, especially with one of them still injured. I don't know. I don't feel good about it. I also hate that you've got 2 wide receivers in a horrible offense. Look how committed he is to the New England offense.
Where does Eddie live? Hang on. We gotta find this guy.
I gotta point this out. Ramondre, Damian Harris, Devontae Parker, Nelson Aguilar. I'm pretty sure the Pats offense is like one of the worst in the league, and you have 4 fucking shares, dude.
Where does this guy live? I gotta find Eddie.
I think he's
in real life.
He's a world traveler.
Is he the Georgia guy? I think Eddie could be in Georgia, or maybe.
No. I think Eddie is in Arizona. Bruh, quiet. Let me talk. I'm trying to answer your question. I think he lives in Arizona. I think he works with Tom, a guy from one of our other leagues.
All right.
All right. Next up, we're gonna talk about what's up next on the show doc here. Oh shoot, I didn't share the screen for that. My bad. But yeah. So I know what we're going to talk about. We are going to talk about the standings and some secondary matrix. Yes, sir. Some secondary matrix. Brace yourself. All right, secondary matrix brought to you by the Missouri Aquarium Society. If you guys go to MissouriAquariumSociety.com and enter promo code MoY Ploy, you will receive an error message. All right, Pigu, let's break down some of these standings. You got the standings pulled up?
I do. I'm looking at them right now, and I think we know who the number 1.
Just break it down real quick, top to bottom for us.
All right, we got number 1 offense. We got Todd Harris. Are we going standings or points? What do we
standings.
Want to break down? Okay, standings. We got Todd in first, myself in second, Ray Rat third, Z Warren fourth, Jake fifth. The Brent, it's an NT in sixth.
Brent Tent.
We got Eddie in 7th and Brett in the 8th place.
Brett Tet. All right.
Jeez.
That is a great breakdown. So we have got basically 4 teams currently would make the playoffs. That is Todd Harris, Peter O'Donnell, Ray Ratmertz, and Zach Warner. There's 2 teams on the bubble. Corrupt Commissioner, myself, and only Corrupt Commissioner can stop him, although he put the stop to the Corrupt Commish. Brent Ent. All right. There's also 2 0-3 teams that are squarely on the panic bus. They have been there since day one. They're going to continue to be there probably until the end of the season. And here is why. Fellas, this is a 13-week season. This league right here, the playoffs are 2 weeks. So it's you play head-to-head for a week, then you combine that score with a head-to-head from the second week. So week 14 and week 15, both head-to-head. Winner of that combined double week matchup advances. Loser gets flushed down to the toilet bowl, or to the consolation, to the third place game. Then there's 2 more, another 2-week matchup in the championship. Meanwhile, the toilet bowl is going on at the same time. Now, the reason that is important is there's only 13 games, which means we only have 10 games left. Now, Brett and Eddie, this is for you two. In order for you guys to make it, because looking at your points for, I'm going to go ahead and share the screen here. Let's go ahead and look, zoom in, make sure y'all see it nice and big. All right. The points for Brett, you are behind everyone. You're behind your next closest, the 7th place team. You're behind him by 70 points. You're behind Brent by almost 100. You're behind me by over 100. And you are behind first place by 200 points. That means he has outscored you by 60 points in each game. Dude, that's fucking nuts. 66.6 points and some change because he's more than 200 points ahead of you. That's fucking wild to me. Now, this isn't just to shit on you. We will be doing plenty of that. However, you should be used to it by now. We're 3 weeks in of nothing but shitting on Brett. Ray's like, oh, thank God Brett joined the league. All right, now, Brett, the reason that this is so important for you, dog, you're probably not going to catch anybody on tiebreakers. Tiebreakers are points for. That means if you have an identical record of someone who is also going to try and make the playoffs, you're 7-6, he's 7-6, the person with the most points for, that's the tiebreaker. So the person who scored the more points gets into the playoffs. Now, Eddie, you have a definite puncher's chance of making the playoffs, seeing as how close you are to myself, to Brent, and even to Peter, and so even to Peter and to Zach Warner. You're a little further away from Ray, but you can still catch about an 80-point gap. That is definitely catchable. What this means, since we have 10 games left, if you want to roll the dice, you only have to win 6 games out of the next 10 to go 6-7. We did have a 6-7 team make the playoffs last year. There were 3 6-7 teams last year, but only one of them got in. It was on tiebreaker. So both of you are extremely disadvantaged in a chance to make it, except I would even say, Brett, your odds of beating 2 teams in a tiebreaker is literally 0. You have to win, Brett, 7 of your next 10 games, dude. This means, Brett, this means your roster right now, with guys sitting on it, DeAndre Hopkins, Deshaun Watson, Michael Gallup, like, these guys are doing absolutely nothing for you. You are currently starting people like J.K. Dobbins, Zeke Elliott, Brandon Ayuk. You're flexing 2 running backs in a league where you should probably be flexing wide receivers instead of running backs. Dog, it is time to wheel, deal, get some sort of value, combine Deshaun Watson with an Antonio Gibson, go out there and get an upgrade to your starting roster. This is do or die season for you. You have to win 7 out of 10 games. Let's take a look at the schedule. Let's see who you're playing upcoming. Let's see how this is going to play out. We are going to look for the schedule for My Name is Mr. Irrelevant. All right. Next coming week, you have got a beatable team from Brent Van Conyu and a beatable team in Eddie Tisler. Then you have number 2 overall, number 5 overall, number 3 overall.
3 points.
Number 1 overall, number 3 overall. You've got basically you've got the Murderers Row, the top 5 teams. Bang, 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 bang. You have to win these 2 games. Then you're going to have to win mathematically. You're going to have to win 2 out of these 5 and then win out for the rest of the season. You're going to have to beat this one, and pull an upset against Peter in the final week. That's going to be tough, man. And if you're going to be holding on to guys saying, I can wait it out to week 11. No, you can't, dog. The clock struck midnight. Your season, it's going up in flames, bro. It's going up in flames. You waited 1 week too long. Now you only have 10 weeks left. You have to win 7 out of 10 games. This is what I was trying to tell you about when we were texting, dog. You didn't want to listen. And I did in our conversation learn a perfect way to manipulate you. You said you never take advice from people in your leagues. All I'm going to keep doing is giving you good advice and watch you not follow it. Boom, roasted. Next up, we're going to talk about Eddie. Peter, you want to break down Eddie's path to the playoffs?
Eddie's path to the playoffs is about the same as that of Brett.
I would say
he has a better team, I think. He has a more diverse.
I want to really quickly, I actually want to disagree in that I feel like Jonathan Taylor, Najee Harris, Saquon Barkley, that's an incredible trio to build your team around. If they can catch fire and you can start getting some points out of one of your, Aaron Rodgers, Matthew Stafford, like if you can get points out of your quarterback and then fix your goddamn flex, get Ramondre Stevenson the fuck out of there, dude. Get some actual wide receivers onto your team.
It's a strong
Chris Godwin's coming back. Chris Godwin can get slapped right into that flex role. Like, I think Eddie has a chance to charge and even potentially get in on a 6-9 record. Just a chance. Sorry.
I
took over your time.
Eddie.
Keep talking.
I believe in Eddie. No, I believe in Eddie, man. I think his roster is better because it's more diversified than our buddy Brett. But
except for the New England thing.
Yeah, and he's got 2 Jacksonville receivers. Again, it's a unique approach. I like uniqueness. I'm secretly a big fan of Brett's team, and I support Brett in the MoY Ploy League.
# support Brett.
This one's for you, Brett. But again, Eddie, it's just tough digging yourself out of an 0-3 hole.
Yes.
And I'd say almost everybody has a pretty good chance of throwing up 180 every week. So if your team isn't going to bring it, it's just tough. And he the quarterback matchups, Eddie has to get that down. He has to know who's going to pop off when, because he's got 5 of the top 8 quarterbacks, 5 of the top 10 quarterbacks. I don't think Rodgers is probably top 10 right now, but I mean, he's got Wentz.
Yeah, Wentz looked like Wentz this last week. So I think it shook. I think it shook some trust. I would not have started Wentz. Who did he play? The Eagles. I would not have started Wentz into that vicious Philadelphia defense myself. But I think that was a bit of mismanagement there. I will say, let's take a look at Eddie's upcoming schedule. He's got a bit of an easier time if he can pull off an upset against the Rat Pack. Rat Pack is the number, I believe Rat Pack's the number 2 scoring team.
And he's telling your dad this is how you score points.
If he can pull off an upset here, I feel like he's got a pretty easy matchup here, and then one of the he's got 2 winnable games. He could be 3-3, and we could be having a completely different conversation week 6. After that, though, Eddie's going to have his roster locked in within 3 weeks. He's going to have some production coming out of his flex spots because he goes up against the Murderer's Row here. The same Murderer's Row that just put him at 0-3.
Eddie.
So I think he's got a much better chance in that if he can win, let's say he wins 1, 2, 3 games here. If he can just pull off one win in the middle of this row of 5, then he'll be 4-7. Then he goes 5-7, 6-7, and as long as he puts up a bunch of points in the meantime, he's got a chance of getting in on tiebreakers, assuming that some other rosters begin to struggle, and we got a 6-7 pileup with a couple of dominant teams sitting atop the division, or atop the league, like we did last year. So Eddie's path to the playoffs requires 2 teams to beat up every other roster in the league and just stack wins, or he's got to go 7-6. He's got to have a winning record.
I want to throw some love out to Brent Fantanu. He's a 2020 finalist. He was runner-up to Todd Craig. I like Brent's team if Derrick Henry's going to pop off and they're going to run the ball.
There's
a world in which Brent is the guy on the bubble. He was on the bubble last year, I'm pretty sure.
Yep. Let's talk about Derrick Henry for a second. There is a popular theory going around that when it begins to snow in Vermont, Derrick Henry begins to go nuts. It snowed last week in Vermont. Derrick Henry went nuts. The snows have begun in Vermont. They call him Derrick Yeti because he is awakening for the winter to terrorize your village. It could very well be a slew of wins coming up. Let's look at Brent's upcoming schedule here. Brent has got, last place. Brett. Then he's got Zach Warner, tough matchup. Then an easier matchup with Eddie. Tough matchup here with Todd. Tough matchup with Peter. Tough matchup with Ray. Tough matchup, well, maybe not. My team has been crapping the bed quite a bit. So an easier matchup here. Easy matchup. So again, Brent, sorry. God, it's so hard. Brent's got a chance. Again, he just has to steal a couple wins against the better teams and beat the teams that he's supposed to beat. And he could easily be in. Easily.
I see I think Brent has a sleeper quarterback in Kenny Pickett, and I want him. I
want him.
And if he did upgrade with Kirk Cousins, then all of a sudden, again, Derrick Henry, the switch is turned on. Quarterback play, so vital in this league. We got 6-point passing tutties.
Mm-hmm.
Brent, watch out. I think Brent might be my dark horse pick right now for a backdoor 4th place.
Here's what I will say. Here's what I don't love about Brent's lineup. It's plagued by the same problems as Brent's teams of old. I love Justin Herbert, but the dude's playing with through some serious chest pain right now. Kirk Cousins, I like Kirk Cousins actually. David Montgomery just went down, probably going to lose him for a couple weeks here. 1, maybe 2. If he does play, I wouldn't expect him to be a full go. Don't love Devin Singletary. He just had a big boom game, which is nice, but still don't love it. I expect Derrick Henry to get stronger as the year goes on. I do like Tyreek Hill, but again, then you're looking at Adam Thielen here. We're going to look at over here on this roster. We got Adam Thielen, don't love that. Robert Woods, hate that. 0 upside there. Deontay Johnson like that. Travis Kelce like that. But then his flex positions, again, very, very little upside. 2 bad offenses. They're in the timeshare running backs and a bad offense in your flex. Bro, get Jerry Jeudy up there. At least he's a receiver, so he's got a higher ceiling. And then, why are you rostering Cooper Rush if you're not going to start him?
Yeah.
Why are you rostering... I get rostering Chase Daniel if you didn't know if Justin Herbert was going to be a go. I like that move. He's probably going to drop him this week, and that would be a good call. If Renfrow gets back, you're able to flex Jeudy and Renfrow in these 2 positions. I much prefer that to the running backs here in a timeshare on crap offenses.
And don't forget to get rid of Trubisky and just sit on Kenny Pickett.
I agree. I think you can get rid of Trubisky. I think if you're not going to start Cooper Rush, you can let him go. I think You can let Chase Daniels go. It seems like Herb Street's going to play. That's 3 spots open for some wide receivers, or you don't really need extra running back depth because you have these 2 in case something happens to a starter and you just are in a pinch. Is Nyheim Hines droppable, do you think, Peter?
I think so. I just look for somebody. I just want someone with just a little higher ceiling.
Let me ask you this. Would you rather start Melvin Gordon, Rashad Penny, or Nyheim Hines?
Melvin Gordon. Melvin
Really?
Gordon's going to get some touches.
I mean, he's got plenty of touches, but the results have been, I don't know. He had a good game this last week, but only because of the TUD. So, yeah, I agree, though. I'd probably start Melvin Gordon.
They're all kind of in maybe the same class. I don't know.
Yeah, the only one I would not is I'd think between Melvin and Nyheim Hines. I would
Jerry
absolutely
Jeudy
not.
Is my go-to really here on this if I'm looking at his flex options, it's got to be Judy and Renfro when he comes back.
I agree. I agree. All right, let's talk about the upcoming week's matchups here. We've kind of paved the way for some of these bottom boys to get into the playoffs. I would say my way to get into the playoffs is pretty similar. I just really need my veteran quarterbacks to come through for me. Let's see. Scoreboard, week 4. Boom. All right, coming up, we have got what projects to be a barn burner of a game. Corrupt Commish, Zach Warner, both projected to go over 190. Very interesting game. I think this is going to come down to quarterback play.
Always will in this league, and especially with these quarterbacks, because Lamar Jackson has been dropping 40+, it seems like, every week.
Can I just say how scary it is to go up against Lamar Jackson, dude?
Oh, it was gonna cost me the week. I should have lost to Z Warren, and Z Warren has. The fact that Kyler Murray didn't pop off against me, Kyler Murray can also put up 50, and so that's. I mean, it has the potential to give 80 points just about every week, and that's frightening. That's like 2 players out of 11 or 13. I can't remember how many we have. We have a lot. I think it's 13. It's like, you put up 80 with just that? Insane.
I like that it says look at all these green box checks for advantage, and yet I'm still feel like I'm going to lose this game. I haven't gotten off to a hot start in a fantasy football league in forever, dude. All right.
You want to be able to sleep easy at night. All right,
so true.
This is a good matchup. Brent Van Conyu, Brett Fitzgerald.
I'll say this. If Brett loses this game, I feel like he's done. He then has to win, I think it's 8 out of the next 9, or 7 out of the next 9. He can only afford 2 more losses. His team is in shambles. I don't know. I feel like if Brett Tet doesn't win this week, I feel like that's absolutely kiss your season goodbye. All you're doing is just trying to ruin other people's days by scratching together a couple of wins here. All you're doing is playing spoiler, and it just sucks though to be pretty much completely out of the running in week 4. In week 4, yeah, dude, like you did it to yourself. You drafted an entire bench full of guys that can't be used, which just meant that nothing could go wrong for your starting lineup. You had 0 margin for error. You made a few errors. Turns out you needed a bit more margin. Next matchup here, we have got another do-or-die game for unsolicited Dak and Sack and Crack picks.
It's the largest spread, I think, of the week. Although, what's my spread? I got 179 projection. Uh-oh.
I think this matchup, I think, is sponsored by Manscaped. With the Dak, Sack, and Crack picks. Now, with Ray Rat, it's just so punishing to go up against Josh Allen and Jalen Hurts and to have a compound interest option for both guys. That's so scary because those 4 players, Jalen Hurts, Devonta Smith, Josh Allen, and Stephon Diggs, the 4 of them alone could just make sure that you don't get to play fantasy football. They could ball out for a combined 100 points, just the 4 of them.
Easy.
I mean, it's scary. It's very, very scary.
It comes down to Ray's management of the team in the past. I don't know. Ray has been a MoY. He's never won the big game. He's never played in the big game. He's lost back-to-back semifinal opening playoff rounds.
Also known as round one exit. Yes, the semifinals.
Right,
Sounds much better when you
one.
call it the semifinals.
The round one exit. This is the year maybe that Ray puts it together. He's second in points. The team is spicy. There's compound interest.
Yeah, I agree. Now, I do think that there's a, if we look at these DAC picks here, there's a lot of green. Taylor, good matchup against Tennessee, good matchup against Jets. T. Higgins, good matchup here in Miami, good matchup against Detroit, good matchup against Baltimore. There's a lot of boom potential on Eddie's roster here with those matchups. I like his chances against the number 2 scoring team in the league.
Ooh, Eddie!
He's got a puncher's chance here. What is going on with your overall? Why is it so low?
I have no idea. I must have a player out. It might be DeAndre Swift.
Yeah, D-Swizzle.
But your dad likes that projection, I know.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure he does. All right, now this is a battle. Someone will be undefeated and the only undefeated team after this game. This, to me,
it feels too early for this.
I love it, but at the same time, it's an 8-team league, Peter. There's only so many people you can play against. So
I wish it had been 6-0, 6-0, and the last
would have been epic.
Possible. Yep.
Would have been epic. But
your dad is the number 1 team in America right now.
In America, that's right.
The highest scoring league. In the past, your dad has been a bottom 4 scorer every year, and I think he's turned a new leaf. This is the new Todd. He is ready.
Let's be real.
To be a scorer, a point getter.
Let's be real. He's not afraid to make a controversial move. He traded away his round 1 pick before a single game was played for a player that was picked after him. He traded away his round 6 pick for a player that was picked in like round 11 or 13. He's not afraid to make controversial moves early in the season when he sees what he believes are trends. I think you gotta admit that right now he's a front runner for the MoY. He's the highest scoring team in the league, 3-0. He's making aggressive and controversial trades.
I like it. That's a MoY move.
And I got a sneak peek. There is a surprise move coming on the waiver wire out of him. I was at his place for dinner. Also found out Zach Warner is real and not just a shill account for Todd Harris.
Okay.
Got to meet Zach for the first time. Nice to meet you, Zach. What up, dog? If you're still listening to this thing, I'm shocked that you listened at all after not meeting me ever. And what are you doing? But yeah, I think this is a really fun matchup. Look for the waiver wire moves out of the MoY. Anything else that we want to talk about before we bail out of here?
Everybody have good luck this week, and tune in to Todd and my showdown. Only one can win. TOD, you're going down, brother.
Absolutely, absolutely. All right, guys. Thank you guys for tuning in. Remember, promo code MoY Ploy for your error message at MissouriAquariumSociety.com.
Lego!
I was like, what are you going to say? All right, y'all. Peace out.